All right, we're recording the Red Wheelbarrow, like a reading and a discussion today if you're new here. And I like this guy's name, William Carlos Williams.
WCW.
I didn't even think about that. I'm just laughing at the William Williams. Anyways, I guess that's probably been commented on before. We're not the first to notice that. But I guess we should say the elephant in the room is that this is an incredibly simple poem. Like, I don't know if we've ever done something so stripped down before, if that makes sense.
I think that the simplicity lends itself to allow to have deep, meaningful, complex conversations, though, because it's so simplistic. And I think that Williams did that on purpose.
This is the prime example too, where it says, how do you know when you're going too far in analysis too, right? Like at what point are you reading too much into it? Like, are you gonna make some big sweeping life example and metaphor out of this? I don't know. I will leave that up to you, the reader, but let's do a quick reading and let's discuss it. The Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow, glazed with rain water beside the white chickens. And then that's it. Like, you can't tell me the first time you heard this that you weren't like, wait, is there a page 2? Is that really the end? Like,
that's it? Wait, did it not print the rest, or did the page not load on the internet? Well, I was a little surprised too of how short it was.
Oh, I mean, the first time I read it, I got to be honest, because this was recommended to us. I don't think I read this in school. I finished it and said, huh. How am I supposed to make a video on this was my initial reaction, right? Because the red wheelbarrow, glazed in rain, beside the white chickens. Like, when I'm focusing on the nouns, the objects, the descriptors, it's just that. It's just that simple. And I think, like so many other readers, when you go back and you're like, okay, what am I supposed to take from this? Like, I don't understand. It's that first line, so much depends upon, right? Like, this is the most important thing. And then I list like the most mundane, normal things that you see day to day. And that's when the wheels start turning of like, oh, so now we need to discuss, like, I guess it's a relative importance, I guess is the right word to say, because the way I would equate this to my life is I show you my house key, right? That house key is absolutely useless in like over 99% of situations. Like if I go to your house, if I go to my neighbor's house, my friend's house, most houses, like I'm sure there's some houses the key might work on. I don't know. I actually don't know how keys work, but I assume there's some repetition eventually in the key. It's going to be meaningless for that context, right? But for me, it's like the most important thing to get into my house. It is the most important thing to me. So much depends upon this red wheelbarrow that is just ready to go after it's been raining and the chickens are out and about. I just like that. That's my initial take upon this opening line per se.
I looked at this and I counted it, and there's only 16 words. And I thought, there must be a lot of power in each word. Words have power, words have meaning. I love you is an example. 3 words, super powerful. No, 1 word, literally 2 letters, super powerful word. What do we get out of each of these words? And I think that I went down the route that you had mentioned of overanalyzing this, because I thought, okay, got to be religious route. Has to be, right? With so few words, there has to be a super deep meaning to this. And I looked up, and Williams was not religious, and I thought, oh, crap. But I thought, maybe he's poking fun of religion. So much depends upon your faith. Why the color red? That blood, sacrifice, Christ, something like that. Water, baptism. White, definitely a color that we use. And then chickens, and my whole argument fell apart. So yeah, it's interesting where your brain can go with just 16 words.
I'll tell you where mine went, and this wasn't even me forcing it. This was me like, it's like so much depends upon. I don't know why, but this fact has just stuck in my head. For new friends out there, I live in Indiana. If you didn't know, I'm very proud of the state. But I learned something. You know, a lot of people say, well, what's in Indiana? The first answer is
chickens.
okay, well that's a good answer too. But corn. we got like we even have this theme like water park where literally the tagline was "There's more to Indiana than corn." Like I don't even know if that was like a stigma for other states. Like Indiana's only known for corn until we ran this commercial. But now like that's all we think about when we think about Indiana. We've got potholes too. Okay, people, like we got a lot going on here. So, but one of the facts that I learned here at the Indiana State Museum is they actually had a special exhibit on corn.
I love corn.
And I learned all these, I love corn too. And I learned all these different facts about it. And one of the interesting facts, I'm assuming you knew this being a history teacher and all, but did you know that corn can't grow in the wild without humans cultivating it?
I would argue that, but
okay, well, it's a broad statement. Let's say it's very difficult, and let's say maybe there's one scenario, maybe it exists somewhere in the wild, but from what this exhibit portrayed to me, it seemed like there was no natural occurring just corn patches just growing, or it'd be so specialized, it'd be really miraculous to find. Like corn is not an ongoing natural thing, and what makes corn happen is people. And people living here in Indiana, depending so much on corn as an export and such, for example, you know, we sell the corn for feed corn and corn syrup and it's in everything now. But it's like to the farmer, to my house key example, that corn is everything. Like so much relies upon him sowing that corn and his livelihood depends upon that corn. And that corn completely depends on him. It's a completely, there's probably a term for this. I don't want to say parasitic or symbiotic, but there's probably a special word where like, both of these need each other to survive. And I thought it was kind of interesting too, just the chickens in the picture, because chickens, they do survive in the wild much better than corn, I'll say that. But they also aren't as prolific as like if you were just let bison roam like the wildlands, like those things and rabbits mate like crazy, right? Chickens are much more difficult to survive on their own, but it's that same idea to me that I got like a farmer picture of that wheelbarrow was useless except for the farmer, and the farmer was useless without the wheelbarrow. Like he needs it. Same way that the corn and the chickens, it's that idea that so much depends upon, and it's like this tight-knit relationship between the two. And I think that's about as far as I could take this poem. And I felt pretty proud about that point coming naturally to me. And I think that's as far as I'm going to take it, because this is a very simple poem, but it does have that tie to me of something that absolutely needs and so much depends upon you know, these farmers and these situations and those types of relationships, me needing my house key. It's the most important thing I need to get into my house, which provides shelter, food, so much safety and security to myself.
You and I often pre-game sometimes. This time we did not. And when my religious aspect epically failed when I hit chickens, I thought, okay, what is the other... where am I going to talk about? Where am I going to go with this? And I thought, oh, man versus nature. So I kind of went the same route you did a little bit. I thought, okay, so much depends upon the working the land. And there's the wheelbarrow, which is a tool to work the land, and the water to nurture the land, and the chickens are helping the land. I kept going in this circle, and I thought, it's there. And then I just came back to the realization, for me, it always comes back to the thing of why I struggle with poems, and maybe why this simple poem is a hard place to analyze, is because it's so simple. You're looking for stuff. And I think that's okay. And I think that whatever you see out of the poem is fine. If you want to read it just as a simple poem, or if you want to look for deeper meaning, that is your choice.
I mean, it is a beautiful scene when I think about it. I had like this image in my head of like where we've got a medium shot of the wheelbarrow. It's glistening, like the light it's dawn, like the sun is just now coming up, and the chickens are kind of like all out of focus in the corner. Like it was just this beautiful scene, almost like an album cover is what this poem evoked in me. And is that enough, right? Like, did I need to sour the experience with having to come up with some meaning when there might be no meaning there? You know what I mean? Like, are we victimizing our own enjoyment of like a beautiful little album cover scenic moment with this desire to pump, an interpretation out of it?
Yes, I think we are guilty of that sometimes, mainly because that's how we have been accustomed to reading over the last umpteen years. We're always looking for the analysis angle. We're always looking for the interconnectedness. And we even say sometimes, hey, we're going to read this book and we're going to read this comic. We're going to read this for brain candy, because we look at it always from a certain lens. That's just kind of who we are. When I was going to read this, I told my wife, and she started cracking up. And I was like, what's so funny? And she said, hey, do you remember like so many years ago? And I guess I used to have kind of a Southern draw because I'm originally from Oklahoma. And when I said wheelbarrow, the way I kind of drawled it to her, it sounded like I said wheelbarrow. And she's like, what's a wheelbarrow? And I was like, I don't know, the thing like, it has a wheel and you pick stuff up, whatever. And she's like, a wheelbarrow? I said, isn't that what I said? She goes, no. And I was like, well, I thought that's what I said. So sometimes just silliness and simplicity is just that. It's just for fun. It doesn't have to have a deeper meaning.
Yeah. Don't let that destroy your enjoyment of what is ultimately, I think, a great album cover. So, Carlos Williams, thank you for sharing this with the world. Leave a playlist down below and let us know what other poems you'd like to check out. Maybe they're also excellent album covers. Let me know in the comments down below. My name's been Una. Thank you for spending time with us today. Peace.
Peace.